Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the AI do all the work, and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. All right, everybody, welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Today, we are joined by Caleb Madsen. He's the founder and SEO of Madhouse Consulting. Caleb, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So, Caleb, let's get right to the meat of it. I want to talk about Madhouse Consulting. Can you tell us a little bit what's the heart of what your company does, and how would you describe it to someone new?
Yeah, so really I started this I've been dabbling with starting this for a while now. Officially launched it back in March this year. And really the proposition is I don't believe the mass majority of companies need a full-time growth marketer or need a full-time CMO. I think that with the modern AI and just like with the automation that's come out, there's a lot of brands who get to that 5 million, 10 million space, and they think they should go and get in that leader and get somebody in. And there's a reason why the most turned over role within the C-suite is the CMO. I think the average person stays in that role about 1 to 2 years. And a part of that is I think that there's people oversell themselves. And so the founders get excited and they hire someone that's not the right fit. But also I think brands aren't. They jump to the marketing because it's exciting and it's fun. When foundationally, like having a great website, having great team structure, having great product matters way more than how good your marketing team is. And so the proposition, what I'm offering is basically bringing clarity within the chaos is kind of what the catchphrase that I'm telling people. And it allows people to say, okay, you get somebody in the seat for 5 to 10 hours a week. Who can drive and can make sure that your strategy is going well at a fraction of the cost. And it's a bit easier for a founder to digest because if things are going well or things aren't going the direction they wanted to go, I do month to month. And it's easy for me to step out or step back in whenever they need me. And I believe in true transparency. And within that, like I've already had a couple clients where I've told them like, hey, look, you'd be way better off not spending money on me, but going after these lower level consultants who can be more action oriented. And that's been my approach. And I just truly believe that it will pay forward. Like it'll pay off for me in the long term. And so that's kind of how I'm approaching this whole thing.
Well, look, integrity will always pay off, right? So I think it's one of those things where you're transparent, and these people might hire the low-level consultants, let's say, right now, but then if they do need a leadership kind of level consultant, then it's easier they'll come back to you because you gave them good advice. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, for
um,
sure. And I think I've already seen one of those people that I sent in a different direction have sent somebody else to me as a lead that I'm talking to right now. And so it always pays off, and it's just treat people well and they'll treat you well also. And so that's kind of been the general approach to it.
worth to live by. So which type of businesses or maybe industries do you feel you're able to serve best, or maybe that you even enjoy working with more? Because you know, we'll have our preferences or excitement when it comes to a specific type of business, and yeah, just curious about yours.
Yeah, I think for me, like the nice part about consulting is it's allowed me to kind of dabble a little bit in different industries. Most of my background is in D2C. Um, and it's kind of reconfirming that D2C is the space that I really enjoy and what I really like doing. As much as SaaS and all that other stuff is got its interesting moments, just for me, what I enjoy doing is D2C. Um, so my background really is in the beauty space, a lot of the time in beauty and fitness. Also worked in clothing, and one of the reasons the consulting thing seemed interesting is my entire background has been at parent companies, working with multiple different brands at the same time. So working with multiple clients is kind of what I'm used to, and so
Hmm.
that's kind of why this seemed like the right switch and the right time to make the switch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually because it gives you that variety and just exposing yourself to different scenarios, different brands, different ways of working, right? It will help you. I'm sure it's helping you right now with different clients, right? As you said.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
so how does maybe you can touch on your clients right now? Maybe we can talk about Madhouse Consulting in a way, but um, how does your audience typically find out about you? And we can refer to your clients if you will, but and I guess in terms of acquisition channels right now, for you it might be social media, for the people you work with might be something different. And just want to, if you can expand on that a little bit, whether it's your
Yeah.
clients or yourself.
Yeah, for me, it's really been word of mouth. Word of mouth, referrals. I think, like I said from the beginning, if you treat other people well, they'll treat you well also. And so I found like I'm sending people to different softwares or to different people I know, just saying like, hey, FYI, I've got this company, they really need your help. Do you mind if I send them your way? And it's funny how like immediately they go, oh, I'm also talking to this person who really needs a growth marketer or they need a CMO. Let me send them your way as well. So like I've done little to no marketing so far to this point. It really has just been networking and just people that send people my way. For my clients, because they're all in the D2C space, it really is just your standard like media mix. So it's anything from social media to paid search to email, SMS, all of that. So it's the whole gamut for the client.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to your clients, how much of a role does the website play in pulling in new business? And I guess if you could expand a little bit on what you're seeing working very well, when it comes to a website, and things that instead are, are not good at all and maybe needs improvement.
Yeah, I think for me, um, it's kind of what I mentioned in the beginning where sometimes people try to come to marketing because they're like, well, we need to scale, we need to scale. And it's like marketing's not the right fit. I've worked with brands where their product wasn't good or their website wasn't good. And you're basically working with a leaky bucket at that point. And so the website is critical because without a good website, without it actually performing, you're just sending traffic to something that's just not going to showcase the best version of the brand. So any brand that I work with or talk with, if the website's a problem, that's the first thing I address with them is just let's not spend more marketing dollars. Let's fix the website because you're going to spend more money and you're just going to keep sending people with sub 2% conversion rate or 1% conversion rate, depending on the brand. Like you're not going to be able to scale into that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there any, let's say, tactic or maybe a framework that you rely on when it comes to you start working with a client, you look at their website and you say, okay, this is what we need to do, right? Typically
Yep.
speaking.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I found, and it's ironic, is because I think everyone tries to overcomplicate things. Everyone loves to make things beautiful and make it look amazing. And I think the problem is a lot of brands and a lot of founders forget that no one else cares about their brand as much as they do. And so I worked on a brand that it had probably 6,000 SKUs. And so they built up this really robust navigation on the website that had all the different sub SKUs. You could click around and do all this stuff. And we went and looked at that new navigation versus 2 years ago when the navigation was just like men's, women's, bestsellers, and it just like had a couple things like that. Um, we changed it and conversion shot up by like 35% immediately
Uh,
to just a very simplistic navigation. And so for me, I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate their navigation, they overcomplicate their website, the flow, and they try to add all these bells and whistles. And in reality, it's every click that you add into the user journey, it immediately lowers the conversion rate. So the more simple you can make it where the customer doesn't have to think, all they're thinking about is this is a great product, this is something I do want to buy, the better. And I think that's like the biggest thing is just simplicity. If you can get back to the simple basic things, it typically works.
right. Is that paradox of choice, right, that you mentioned? I think that when it comes to that huge menu, right? It's not like, okay, what do I choose now? I know I
Yeah.
find myself as a user, as a consumer, when I go to a website, it's not working, right? Simplify things. I like that. I like that message, Okay, so let's switch gears for a second, Caleb. I want to talk about you a little bit. So, can you give us an idea now that you're running this consulting business? What does a typical workday look like for you, and what are the main things that you focus on day to day?
Yeah, I think right now it's getting launched. It's I'm onboarding a lot of different people, different clients, and so um a lot of it is just like getting access to things at the minute. If I were to look at it for a standard day, because my role is mostly in an advisory role, I'm pretty much on Slack constantly. A lot of the people are just asking me questions. What do you think about this? What do you think we should do with this? Um, and it really depends on the contract I've set up. I've kind of set up two tiers within my contracts. I have one that's like more me stepping in and like I'm on the team. I'm more in that CMO or like VP of growth role. And then the other one, which is I have a couple clients signed to this already, which is more of an advisory role where really it's just like I'm there as a thought partner. I'm there to join. I join a few phone calls a week just to kind of give them my thoughts on things. And so um, my day to day really is just depend on my clients' needs, and it's really just phone calls and Slack is a lot of my day to day, which is what I like doing. I love like one of the reasons I wanted to do this is I do love interacting with people. I love the people aspect of work. Um, and so the more clients I sign, the more people I get to interact with, the more fun projects or things I get to work on. So it's a combo of that. And like they'll sometimes send me off of like, hey, we want to look at an influencer platform. What do you think we should do? Then I'll go do research. I'll go talk to different vendors. I'll gather up the info for them, then present it back once I've kind of gathered that up. But it
Yeah.
all just revolves around information, whether I'm gathering it or I'm giving it. And so a lot of it's just phone calls and Slack most of the day.
Fair enough. Let's stay on the topic of information for a second. There's a flood of content out there, right? How do you stay focused and keep learning? Maybe I don't know if there are certain places, people, or let's say routines that you turn to for inspiration or staying ahead. But can you give us a glimpse, into like how do you keep on top of things and how do you keep growing?
Yeah, I think for me, I think LinkedIn is slowly for me, it's just turning into a cesspool of everyone's just trying to talk about AI and all the stuff there. And like I think there's some stuff within that that's reality. I think that's true, but I do think there's a lot of just people talking for the sake of talking. So where I find most of my information is Reddit. I love Reddit.
Hmm.
Like it's just you have real people having real conversations in there and very bluntly having conversations. So I use Reddit. I ChatGPT is something that I use constantly. Whether it's for just research, whether it's just to ideate, it's something that I really enjoyed. I think those are two like of the core areas that I really like using because um, yeah, I think Reddit in particular just takes the fluff. Like no one's trying to show off, no one's trying to protect their brand. It's just people going, "I have a question" or "I have this thought. What should we do?" Type of thought process.
Right. It's as you said, I think it's the difference between there's no need for engagement. People are not looking for likes necessarily, or I mean, there
Yeah,
are upvotes and whatnot, but Reddit is much more, I don't know, I think human in a way. It's kind of not,
yeah,
you don't have the limit, you don't get like one-liners typically, right? Some people will expand more. So it's yeah, it's a good channel for sure. Cool. So before we wrap things up, Caleb, I would love us to jump into the rapid fire question segment of the podcast, right? So we have a few questions, right? We try to keep it light and engaging. The only rule, let's say, that we have is that for a concise question, we ask for a concise answer. Would you be ready for
okay,
that?
yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right. Okay, cool. So reading or watching?
Watching.
Okay. What's the latest piece of content that you've watched, and were there any gems or ideas that really stuck with you?
I watch financial content, so the Money Guy show. is something I watch constantly. So it's something that personal finance is something I'm fascinated with. So I don't know if there's a certain gem because I watch it constantly, but it's just something that kind of always is going in the background for me.
Got it. Okay. That's a good one. So if you had a magic wand and could fix one frustrating thing in your business right now, what would it be?
Um, Everything outside of doing my job with the businesses, the admin, the setting up the business, all of that has been a lot, and there's no real good way of showing how to do it.
Fair enough. Staying on the same note, maybe, what's one repetitive task that you'd like to put on autopilot forever?
Um, Reporting, just like typing out reporting and notes and things.
Yeah, I can relate. If you could go back and give your past self a quick pep talk at the start of your journey, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Um, Stay patient and focus on the long game.
Hmm, love it. Longevity, right? Um, Caleb, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I want to give you the last word. So if someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is the one thing that they should remember about the work you're doing at Madhouse Consulting?
I think it's ethical consulting. It's trying to help people and help brands, and I enjoy working with other people, and so I want to treat people the right way.
Love it. Love the message. So if anyone is in need of of someone like you for your services, growth marketing, leadership, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn, Caleb Madsen. They can also find me on my website, which is madhouseconsulting.co, because I don't have .com because someone wanted 50 grand for that and I'm not paying that. So it's
Absolutely
.co.
not.
Yeah, no.
All right, perfect. Well, we'll send people your way, in case, and even if they go to that .com, they realize it's not what they're looking for. So,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, perfect. Cool. Caleb, thanks again, and we hope to see you again soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, bye everyone.